a good week. It's lovely to be in your homes and just to have this little chat with you. This program is sponsored by Sunny TV, the Gloria Hassall Foundation, Glandis Essentials and King Pharmacy. Today we've got quite an amazing topic. We'll be talking about nagging, basically why you shouldn't nag, and we'll just be looking at nagging in relationships and nagging children, nagging in the family basically. So I will start with elaborating or defining what moaning is, because moaning and nagging sort of go hand in hand really. So a moan is a long low sound made by a person to express mental or physical suffering. A complaint which is taken as trivial or not taken seriously by others. A complaint or grumble typically about something trivial. And a nag is someone constantly harassing someone to do something. It could be in the form of criticizing, complaining, moaning, and it comes with resentment. Like when someone is nagging someone, they are constantly telling them to do something, and it's almost like they resent the person they are telling to do whatever they want them to do. So I will be talking about nagging your partner. So basically nagging is when someone is complaining about someone else's ability to do something, or constantly complaining about someone doing something and not doing it properly. It's almost like criticizing someone in the sense that they're not doing something properly, correctly, or unable to do something. So constant nagging in a relationship can lead to one party constantly nagging the other party in the sense where they're trying to control them in a way. Some people or some children may also have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and such people are easily distracted and not very much focused on what you're doing. They easily get distracted. So when you're dealing with people like that, the tendency to nag them is quite high, but you need to know how to deal with people like that, because you can't keep nagging them because it's ineffective. And when you're constantly nagging them, you're basically attacking their confidence, and also you are coming across as a nag, and sometimes you're not taken seriously and it's ineffective. You don't achieve results. So someone with ADHD may have poor organizational skills, maybe impulsive, maybe less focused. So when you're dealing with them, you just need to be more constructive and have a strategy. You must have a productive, efficient and effective strategy to communicate with them and to help and support them when you want results, or in everything they do basically. So if you have a partner like that, you need to have a strategy to communicate with them and not nag them or put them down or resent them. Or you shouldn't also think that, you shouldn't look at that side of them like they're not focused or they're not serious, they're not ambitious. It's just a condition, and you just have to support them. You have to help them through with it. And nagging clearly won't give you results, especially if you're dealing with a child. So I'm just going to talk a bit about the effects of nagging in a relationship, and then we'll sort of talk around also on the child, on children as well. So if you're nagging your partner, they may feel like you resent them. To be honest, the more you see the negative, or the more you see their weaknesses, let's put it that way, and you're nagging at the weaknesses, you start to resent them because you may not necessarily get results. And as you don't get results in the process, you may resent them, and they also may not feel worthy. They may not feel loved enough. They may feel despised. So nagging is definitely not the way to go. Nagging could also cause your kids or spouse to get angry at you because they don't see where you're coming from. They don't see, because nagging isn't a good way of communicating. They don't see you communicating with them. They just see you shouting at them, or they just see you, having a go at them all the time, and they might end up shouting back. To be honest, you may shout at them yourself because you're nagging. You're trying to get results and you're repeating yourself because you're nagging. nagging is repetitive. You're saying the same thing over and over again. It may be in different forms, but you're trying to get across the same message over and over again. And in the process, you may shout, because if you're dealing with a child who's got ADHD, they may not necessarily act accordingly or act as you expect. And, you might get frustrated in the process. So you may yell and shout at them, and they may yell or shout back. So it may create some level of resentment between the relationship, whether it's with a child or a partner. So, and what you don't want is to have resentment with your children or partner. So just take note, when you're dealing with people like that, just have a constructive, positive, communicate, talk to them, and do not nag. Sometimes you could have you could be like, okay, if you do your homework like by 7 p.m. today, I'll give you ice cream. You have a dessert tomorrow for after dinner. You can give them a reward, or I could give you whatever is suitable for you. If they want something, you can promise to give that, and then of course, if they do it, you give it. But nagging, trying to get them to do it by continuously repeating yourself and yelling and shouting and screaming, isn't really going to yield results. It's just going to create resentment between the relationship or within the relationship. Also, nagging is unpleasant. No one wants to be around a nag. So if you're constantly nagging people, which could be your partner or your child, they sort of don't want you around them really, because it's almost like tolerating your presence or tolerating the nag or the nagging. So you don't really want to nag. You just want to communicate, and you sort of want to create the aura and atmosphere around you that is pleasant, that just draws people to you, and not just push people away because you're constantly yelling or talking and saying the same thing over and over again, like, I'm not stupid, I heard what you said. You don't have to say it 1,000 times sort of reaction. So yeah, nagging is unpleasant. It makes you come across as unpleasant. It doesn't matter whether it's with family or friends or whatever you go in at work, I don't know, whatever you go. If you find yourself, try not to nag, and just communicate and find a strategy to get results, rather than having to be repetitive and say the same thing over and over again, which comes across as nagging, and you may come across as a nag as well. So basically, the more you nag, the less people listen. It's ineffective. Like, people just see it as you, and they sort of take it for granted. Really, they don't take you seriously, because you're constantly coming across as a nag. So they just won't take what you say seriously anymore, and that will frustrate you the more, and it will frustrate them as well the more, and it's just gonna hinder, and it's gonna sever the relationship even the more. So nagging is negative reinforcement. It's like you're saying, I'm going to keep saying this thing over and over again at you until you do it. And the person at the receiving end who is being spoken to over and over again is going to feel like, well, as soon as I stop doing this to stop them from repeating it, they're going to jump onto the next thing anyway, because it's like a habit. So it's like, do your homework tonight, and do your homework tonight. For example, you're saying to your child, do your homework tonight at, let's say, 7 p.m. and it's like maybe 6:30, and you're just going on and on and on and on and on and on. And the child is going to think, well, I'm going to do it at 7, but tomorrow it's going to continue. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to start yelling at me, at a certain time, and it's just going to keep, and it's going to just be like every day. This is just going to continue every day. So it's negative reinforcement, and you don't want that around you. You don't want to come across as like such a person, because it's not effective and it doesn't reflect positively on you either. So this is all we've got to talk about this week. Next week, we will talk about what you can do instead of nagging, other ways to communicate instead of nagging. So this program is sponsored by Sunny TV, Glandis Essentials, the Gloria Hassall Foundation, and King Pharmacy. You look after yourself, be good. I hope you've learned something. Communicate, and remember, communicate and don't nag. And I'll see you next week. Have a blessed week. Take care. Bye.
Gloria Hassall Show comes your way every Saturday, 7 p.m. on Sunny TV, with your host, Gloria Hassall, to break down the importance of addressing and discussing issues like current affairs, marriage, culture, economy, health, wealth, and education on Gloria Hassall Show, 7 p.m. every Saturday on Sunny TV.